Very good afternoon to you once again. It's just after 4:20 this Thursday afternoon. This is Newsfeed PM. I'm Michelle Craig. Well, dear leader John Steenhuisen has had a fiery response to President Cyril Ramaphosa's decision to remove Andrew Whitfield as Deputy Trade and Industry Minister, labelling the move as a calculated assault. Athol Trollip is ActionSA's Eastern Cape chairperson and an MP, and he joins us now via our video link for a response to that. Even before John Steenhuisen's response, Athol Trollip, you and ActionSA had some things to say about deputy ministers in general.
Yes, thanks, Michelle. We've been saying for a long time that our cabinet is too big, too bloated, costs too much money. Even deputy ministers, we don't know that they perform any real function. They have no executive authority. And we've been calling for a reduction in the size of the cabinet and to get rid of all deputy ministers. But having said that, we believe that if Whitfield must go, then all the deputy ministers must go. Because if it's about performance, then there are a whole host of other people that should be in the front of that queue. But now we hear that maybe Whitfield has been removed because he travelled abroad without the sanction of the president. John Steenhuisen today in Parliament was saying that he did indeed write to the president to request permission. So it looks like a very flimsy reason to fire a minister, but it's going to precipitate a lot of unhappiness, very clearly so in the debate around the appropriations right now in Parliament. But I think this is going to have far-reaching consequences because there are a host of ministers that serve in the cabinet that should have received similar letters from Cyril Ramaphosa that haven't received them. So that's where we find ourselves now. I think this impasse is going to deepen.
Yeah, I'm sure that Enoch Godongwana, the finance minister, feels a massive headache coming on as he sees what's unfolding on the sidelines and in Parliament. What does this mean, do you think, for the Division of Revenue Amendment Bill?
Well, the Division of Revenue has been approved by the National Assembly. It's been read a second time. It will now go to the National Council of Provinces. But I think what will happen if the GNU does fall apart, and this is a symptom of having a really weak coalition agreement. They don't have a coalition agreement. They have a statement of intent, which has manifested itself in these kind of standoffs a number of times in the past year. But that was one step closer to the passing of this budget today with the appropriations bill being passed. So Enoch Godongwana would have sighed a relief today. But I think who should be troubled by this current impasse is the president himself, because he has referred other ministers who have been implicated in corruption and various other travails, has given them the opportunity to submit reports to him, and he's applying his mind to those reports. No such treatment was apparently given to Deputy Minister Whitfield. So now it appears that if you do this to us, we'll do it to you. And I must say, I must give the DA some credit. Today they said that they will pass the Division of Revenue Bill in the interest of putting South Africans first. But they have thrown down the gauntlet to the president to say that if nothing changes about Whitfield's dismissal in the next 48 hours, they will then make up their mind about what they will do with regard to the budget and the GNU.
Yeah, I mean, it certainly seems like there is a double and maybe even a triple standard here in terms of what is allowed in terms of the behavior of ministers in the president's cabinet, right? Thembi Simelane, the former justice minister, now human settlements minister, and the higher education minister, Dr. Nobuhle Nkabane, both spring to mind immediately. And I wonder what kind of message does that send? If you're an ANC minister, you're an ANC member of cabinet, you have some kind of protection?
Yeah, look, there certainly are double standards, but I think there's something much more ominous attached to the removal of Deputy Minister Andrew Whitfield. He serves in a very important portfolio, and there's a lot of controversy around the awarding of the lottery tender, and there is the planned transformation fund, which runs into hundreds of billions of rand. There's a lot of money available there, and we know that the ANC and ministers of the ANC love to use the public purse to fund elections. And of course, there's an election coming up. So maybe Whitfield was asking too many awkward questions. But this remains to be seen. But it certainly appears that his firing is linked to what he might have been doing in the portfolio. And he might have been getting in the way of Minister Park's towel. And these matters will be interrogated over the next 48 hours and more, no doubt. But it appears that there is a massive impasse, and we'll get to the bottom of why it came about. But it's very messy, and it reflects very poorly on Cyril Ramaphosa again. Ramaphosa is renowned for not taking action, but now he's taking action for what appears to be something completely grey, and nobody really understands why he's taken this action.
So what do you think that means, Athol Trollip? The DA saying that within the next 48 hours, we will find out what takes South Africa forward.
Well, I think John Steenhuisen pretty much made it quite clear now in the National Assembly, where he said they'll support the Division of Revenue Bill to go forward. But he said within 48 hours, if Cyril Ramaphosa doesn't do anything about Whitfield or do anything about those other ministers that are implicated in serious wrongdoing, that they will consider their options. And the only option, I think, what that means is that they will then pull out of the government of national unity, because they say that there is no good faith in this move by President Ramaphosa.
Do you think that the Andrew Whitfield decision would have been an easier pill to swallow if there was action on Nobuhle Nkabane and Thembi Simelane?
I think it would have been much easier pill to swallow, because there are really problematic ministers in this cabinet that Cyril Ramaphosa treats with kid gloves. And if you're going to sacrifice one, you should sacrifice more. But he's chosen not to do that. He indicated that he might be sacrificing some other ministers or getting rid of them. He hasn't done that. So now, the gauntlet is there. Cyril Ramaphosa is going to have to run this gauntlet, and it's his mess. He'll have to fix it.
The next 48 hours, Athol Trollip, thanks very much for your time. ActionSA's Eastern Cape Chair and MP.